Great to have you here. The details now. The opposition National Democratic Congress has accused the government of political persecution and harassment as its national chairman, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, appears before court today. Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo has been charged with conspiracy to cause harm and assault against a public officer. The decision by the Attorney General to prosecute Mr. Ofosu-Ampofo comes after weeks of investigations by the Police Criminal Investigations Department into a leaked secret recording in which he is alleged to have threatened some public officers. Last night, the NDC issued a statement describing the charges as trumped up and frivolous, among others. Now, I will bring you details of that statement, which some have described as strong-worded and, among other things, they accused the president of using the judiciary to harass the main opposition party. We've been joined by Communications Director of the NDC, Samuel, Sami Jamfi. Great to have you here this morning, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Quite a strong-worded statement where you accuse the president of, for example, using the judiciary to harass members of your party and using the police service as well. Would you want to cite any examples of such incidents?
Thank you. Let me say a very good morning to a cherished viewers. The current case involving the National Chairman of the National Democratic Congress and our Deputy National Communications Officer are classical examples of what we mean by the malicious prosecution, or if you like, persecution of leading figures and members of the National Democratic Congress. Because clearly the charges of conspiracy to cause harm, conspiracy to assault a public officer, which have been leveled against our national chairman and our deputy national communications officer, are frivolous, they are trumped up, they have no basis whether in fact or in law, they are illogical, charges don't even make sense, they are not borne out by the facts, and so the only explanation we can give to that is that the case is politically motivated. I'm not sure that the police in their own, judgment would have proffered these frivolous charges if they were doing their work independently.
Okay.
We know.
Mr. Jamfi, sorry I have to cut in, but I come to the sixth paragraph of your statement, and you say that you have witnessed countless instances of harassment, intimidation, criminality, lawlessness, and plain terrorism, you say, by hoodlums operating at his behest. And when you say his here, you're referring to the president, and this is such a strong allegation, and you're using some strong language here, and that's why I'm asking. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to know, those countless instances. So far, you've only referred to one.
I think we need to put the issues in the right perspective. What you just read has to do with countless acts of lawlessness and
I'm quoting from your statement. You said instances of harassment, intimidation, and so those are included there.
Can you read what you just read again?
Okay, you're saying that you never thought that such crudeness and blatant disregard for the rights of our members would be the weapons of choice in this political vendetta. We have witnessed countless instances of harassment, intimidation, criminality, lawlessness, and plain terrorism by hoodlums operating at his behest.
Exactly. So,
and I'm asking for those instances of harassment and intimidation.
If you can allow me, please.
Sure.
We were in this country when members of the invisible forces of the NPP attacked a senior police officer, DSP Nankabrus, at the seat of government. That assault on that innocent police officer was captured on CCTV camera. In spite of the fact that there was clear evidence about the identity of visible forces members who engaged in that atrocity, government has done nothing to prosecute them and to ensure that justice is served to Mr. DSP Nankabrus. The attack on the KMA court in Kumasi, a court of competence jurisdiction, by members belonging to the Delta Force of the NPP is still fresh on our mind. Till date, the perpetrators have not been arrested, they have not been prosecuted, and they've not been sanctioned.
Mr. Jennifer, are you saying those people were not arrested? I'm sorry, I just have to interrupt there. Are you saying those who attacked the courts in Kumasi were not arrested?
No, they were not arrested.
Okay.
Still did, no arrests have been made. Nobody is standing prosecution. Nobody has been sanctioned, even though those acts were captured on tape, and the ruling NDP knows the identity of the guys who engage in those acts because they belong to the Delta Forces of the NPP, which works under the Ashanti Regional Secretariat of the NPP. Again, we're all in this country when the spiritual father or prophet of the president, if I can put it that way, Prophet Owusu Bempah, went to the studios of Hot FM, attacked a journalist, destroyed properties and so on, which was also captured on tape. In spite of this glaring evidence, government and the police service have turned a blind eye to that as well. He has not even been invited by the CID, not to talk of being prosecuted for that obvious act of criminality. In relation to leaked tapes, for example, the leaked tape involving a Ghanaian musician A-Class and the current boss of the CID, Madam Tiwa Dodankwa, is still fresh on our mind. We heard our CID boss on tape plotting the concealment of crimes which allegedly have been committed by our two chief of staff. To date, the police told us that they had referred the matter to a committee to investigate the matter. Today, we don't know the status of that matter. Madam Tiwa Dodankwa Akufo-Addo is being promoted when she should have been demoted, and she should have been queried for that, unprofessional and criminal conduct on her part. She came out and said the voice was doctored, and that was it. We never heard anything. We heard, again, the Deputy General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, lawyer Obribwai, in another leak case with a journalist called Kwesu Skene, in which he indicated that President Akufo-Addo had given the New Patriotic Party an amount of 5 million Ghana cedis, taxpayers' money, 5 million Ghana cedis, for the Cape Coast National Delegates Conference, and that his boss, Mr. John Boyd, responded the money without giving him a share, and that what is currently going on in government, according to lawyer Obribwai, on that case, was what he termed, quote, grabbing, unquote. What has government done, or what has our police service, PID, done in relation to that? You see, we are not raising this issue to equalize or to rationalize. We are saying that principle is principle. Consistency is key in enforcing the laws of every country. If you look at Article 17 of the 1992 Constitution, it speaks of the fact that all Ghanaians, all citizens are equal before the law. And so if today President Akufo-Addo and the CID are minded to investigate leaked tapes, they are minded to investigate, acts of lawlessness and all that, the starting point should be these cases. And not this. Take, for example, the Ayawaso West Waggon by-election. You saw masked, ear-ringed, bearded hoodlums belonging to the New Patriotic Party attacking innocent civilians. The gentleman who assaulted a sitting member of parliament, Honorable Sam George, is still walking the streets of Ghana as a free man. Those who shot innocent citizens without any lawful justification or provocation are still walking as free men. Yet, the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, who ensured that the process was peaceful in the face of provocation, he spoke to his party people to remain calm, told them that don't reprise, allow the laws to work in the interest of Ghana, in the interest of peace. He is the one who today is being hounded by government. He is the one who today is being prosecuted by government in relation to that same by-election. It just doesn't make sense. So everything points to the fact that what is going on is politically motivated. The charges are frivolous. It is just meant to intimidate our members and to distract our national chairman and our deputy national communication officer from doing their work. And that should not be coming from a government which is led by a lawyer of many years standing, a self-acclaimed human rights activist, and a paragon of the rule of law.
All right, Mr. Jenfi, I asked for those countless instances of harassment you state in your release meted out to your own members, but it's okay because you've been giving us examples.
I can give you a few examples. For example, myself, my deputy, Kwaku, the national chairman, were invited on countless occasions by the CID. We went there on a number of occasions. Sometimes you go there, you are allowed to sit idle, and I can speak for myself. You are allowed to sit for hours without anybody attending to you.
Mr. Jeffy, do you trust the judicial process?
Of course, we have confidence in the judicial process, but you must know that there is such a thing as malicious prosecutions in law. That the law enforcement process, the criminal justice system, can be abused to victimize political opponents. That has basis in the law, and that is why we have malicious prosecution in the law, and that is exactly what we are raising. In fact, we can give you countless cases where NDC members have been arrested, NDC members have been prosecuted maliciously, just because, you know, the MPP feels they are in power today and they feel that they will be in power forever. They are just using power. People of this country have given them to witch hunt political opponents. And that is exactly what they are doing to our national chairman and our deputy communications officer.
Do you believe that the police service, as it is now, is operating independently of the executive?
Not at all. If you look at our security architecture, the police service works under the instructions of the Ministry of Interior. The police service, the highest decision-making body in the police service is the Police Council, chaired by the Vice President, currently Vice President Dr. Baumia. And we know that this particular CID, you know, Criminal Investigations Department that we have, headed by Madam Tiwa Dansma, takes instructions from the headquarters of the New Patriotic Party. That we know as a matter of fact.
Do you have any evidence to back that allegation?
Of course. I have told you that I myself, I was invited by the CID. I went there. I saw the kind of inhumane treatment that they meted out to me, to our chairman, and to other officials of the party who had been invited on some frivolous grounds.
Are you in any way
serious matters that the police service should be concerning themselves? We want Madam Tiwa Dansma only last week, about 2 weeks ago, she came out, indicated that she knows where the kidnapped Takoradi girls are. To date, she hasn't given us any further emphasis of particular.
So, Mr. Jeffy, if I get you...
know the whereabouts of the girls. These are the things that Tiwa Dansma should be working on, and not these frivolous, baseless, cases.
Finally, are you in any way suggesting that the police CID cannot work independent of any influence? Because you also accuse the president of being a hypocrite and using and manipulating. I asked you if you believe in the judicial system, because you say that we assure President Akufo-Addo that his hypocrisy and quest to muscle the opposition through the misuse of security agencies and manipulation of the judicial process will fail. But you say you trust the process.
We are not talking about the judiciary as an institution. We are talking about the use of state security agencies to manipulate the judicial process.
All right.
So that is what we are talking about. And so, yes, we have absolute confidence in the judiciary, but we have no confidence in the Tiwa Dansma-led CID.
Thank you very much.
We have no confidence in that Tier 2-led police service, because clearly they are doing the bidding of the New Patriotic Party.
Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Not in the interest of this country.
Mr.
They are just serving the interest of their paymasters, and that is the New Patriotic.
We appreciate your company here this morning. We'll have to end it here and head to court. My colleague Joseph Akablay joins us. Mr. Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo has appeared before court and he joins us with details. Hello, Joseph. What can you report?
So, Benis, I'm currently standing in front of the law court complex, the main entrance. And as you can see behind me, there are a number of individuals gathered here who are members or sympathizers of the opposition National Democratic Congress. It's a long wait for them because their chairman just a short while ago was granted bail by the commercial division presided over by Justice Samuel Isiedu, and these are supporters who are waiting for him to come out so that they take him away. Once the bail is granted, there are some processes that he needs to go through. Mind you, this is a bail to the sum of 100,000 cedis with one surety each granted to the two individuals. So as I'm speaking to you now, the supporters are waiting for him to come out. I've been trying to engage some of them, but they say that they are not going to speak to me, but they keep saying that in terms of the discussions that they are having at this particular venue, the point they are making is that they are very unhappy about this case that has been brought against their chairman, because they feel that there are various pressing national matters that they, in their opinion, the Attorney General should be concerned with, instead of bringing this case up against their national chairman. The AG herself, Ms. Gloria Kufu, led the Republic's legal team and read the charges against the individuals. And the charges, as she read them, included conspiracy to commit crime, as well as assault on public officer. 2 counts of that assault on public officer was slapped on Mr. Ampofo, whilst that of conspiracy to commit crime was handed Mr. Anthony Kwekubwai, who is a Deputy Communications Director. In terms of their plea, the 2 individuals pleaded not guilty. In terms of the lawyers being allowed to make some opening remarks, Tony Later, who represents Mr. Ampofo, made the point that, in their opinion, the case of a frivolous nature, says is vexatious, and that in due course, once they have the chance to argue out the substantive matter, they are going to demonstrate that this is an abuse of prosecutorial powers on the part of the Attorney General's office. Dr. Abdul Basit Bamba, who leads Mr. Kwekubwai's legal team, brought a different dimension to the case entirely. The AG mentioned a specific date on February 2 where she says the said meeting took place. Now, Dr. Basit Bamba, in his opening remarks, makes the point that Mr. Bwanyi on the said date was not at the NDC's national headquarters, as has been alleged by the Attorney General, and that will be the line of defense that they will be espousing once they have their turn to argue out the case. I've been engaging Deputy Attorney General Joseph Dendiok Pemka on the issues that have come up so far, and he says the AG made a judgment call, and in her opinion, she feels that this is a matter that should be prosecuted because no individual is above the law. So whether that person is the chairman of the largest opposition party or not, it cannot amount to political persecution simply because the person is of a political character, but it's simply crime that, in their opinion, has been committed, for which reason they want to prosecute. So currently, we are still waiting for Mr. Ampofo and Mr. Bwanyi to complete the processes before they come out. It's important to also point out that quite a number of high-ranking former government officials made it to the court complex to support Mr. Ampofo, and key amongst them is the NDC's presidential candidate, Mr. Mahama, who we know is the former president as well. He came together with former chiefs of staff, Nana Atodatze and Julius Debra, all coming in, as well as the NDC's leadership, including General Secretary Johnson Esiedu Nketia, also coming in. Former ambassadors all made it a point to come here. Some former MPs. The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, was also present here to lend his support to Mr. Ampofo, who the party says is being prosecuted because, in terms of abuse of prosecutorial powers on the part of the Attorney General's department. So we are still monitoring the situation here at the Law Court Complex, Venice.
And Joseph, do we know when next the case will be heard?
And even before April 6th.
So the next date will be on April 6th, and even before April 6th, there are some
do you mean May 6th? I'm sorry, Joseph.
On May 6th, I must say, May 6th, yes. Yes, on May 6th, Venice. And even before the May 6th date, there are some applications that are to be made, and that application, we understand, is coming from the quarters of Tony Later, who represents Mr. Ampofo. He has some concerns about the charges that have been preferred against his client and the facts as were espoused by the Attorney General's office, and he feels that if the court makes a determination on those matters of law, it could affect the substance of the case. So that application, we understand, per the directive coming from Justice Samuel Esiedu, may be heard before the May 6th date. So that is the state of affairs now. So May 6th is the next date, but an application is supposed to be made which may be heard before the May 6th date. The AG has also been directed to ensure that the appropriate disclosure is made. As you recall, in the case of the Republic versus Eugene Bafo-Boni that ended up at the Supreme Court, the court did direct that it is important for disclosures, all pieces of evidence, including the tapes in this particular matter, to be furnished to the accused persons before the case starts. So that is what is happening now. As I speak to you now, you can take a look at this direction that with some individuals who came in here. You can see the former First Lady. She is coming in here. We understand it's not directly related to this matter, but she's heading to the court here, just going in there.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
So we're still here at the Law Courts Complex, Venice. We are waiting for Mr. Mpofo.
Thank you very much, Joseph Akablaze. Man in court, would leave him to get more details on what has happened today, and he'll finish us later.